Have you ever looked at a franchise and thought, why would I buy myself a job? One location might throw off $200,000 a year. And honestly, it's not that exciting for the amount of risk and work that it can take. And it's true, right? That is not worth it. But here's the shift that franchising isn't about one location, it's about stacking cash flow. And once you see it this way, the whole model makes sense. So I've been franchising my entire life, over almost 15 years now, like working in it or owning them now. I have a company, we have over 40 franchises. We'll do $50 million a year in revenue, and we help people buy franchises. I'm an investor in them. It's like all that I do. And there was a big shift for me many years ago where it is true that a lot of franchises only make 100, 150, $200,000 a year, something in that range. And if you have one or two locations, you're making $200,000, $300,000 maybe. It's a good job, right? It's great money for a lot of people, but there's other people out there who want to build something significant. They want to build something big. And they look at that and they say, if that's the upside, if I can do all this work and I could only make that, like it's not worth the risk of my time and for all the other options. And what you have to think about it is it's not about one, it's not about two. It's about, can you copy and paste? Can you take the system that you learn and multiply it out, where you go from one location to two, right? To two to four. Once you have four and you can hire district managers to help oversee and you get a little bit more freedom, you can go to 8 to 10. Now you have two districts. We have two people that run it. Once you get to 10, it's not that big of a jump to go to 15 to 20 locations, right? And now you have multiple district managers. You have a COO, you have a back office. And once you get to 20, the difference between the 20 and 40 isn't that much bigger. And that's kind of where I'm at today. And as we lay the foundation to get to the next level, from my company to operate 100 locations, it doesn't actually feel that big of a jump because of all the work we've done up to this point. And I think that is the real thing that people have to understand. If you truly want to make life-changing money owning franchises, you want strong cash flow, is that it is a cash flow business. It is not an equity business. If your goal is to grind away, make no money, and then one day have this big payday where you're getting millions and millions of dollars, then franchising probably is not the right fit. You may want to go look at starting a software company. You may want to get into real estate, right? There are other ways that people can invest a bunch of time, have no cash flow, and then have a big payday. That's on like one side of the scale here. The other side is franchising, which can provide very strong cash flow from, early on. But when you go to sell it, like it's not probably going to be that big payday. It's not going to be worth this big multiple. The small franchises trade, and by small, I mean like EBITDA profit level, are going to trade at like 3, 4 times, 5 times, maybe if it's like a multi-unit and there's a bunch of people in place. My business that does 50 million in revenue and, we have double-digit margins. I think I could get a 7 times, but it's not the type of thing that's going to be this 20x or this crazy, crazy amount of money. But that's okay, right? I mean, it's okay for me because the way I think about it is like, I want cash flow to live my life. Like I sleep good every night knowing that, I have this business, we have this team, and like, in our business, cars break down, we paint houses, we have a new artificial turf business. I'm an investor in other brands, and every one of those service-based businesses, people need our services, and, cash flow is coming in every single week, every single month with no end in sight. Like we're not threatened by AI. We're not threatened by a lot of things that can happen in the world. And I think that's what it's all about for me, right? And this now may be for you. You may think like, listen, this isn't for me. This feels too small. But if you can think about it as you start to have these bricks, I have young kids. We love playing with Legos and like building these things. And I like to think about a franchise business as a box of Legos. And I am just stacking these pieces brick by brick. And it might be, this store may make 100K and this may make 150. And then we have one that maybe can make 400. And then we have another one that makes no money or loses a little bit of money. And we have another that, somewhere in between. And it's just, you start to stack these bricks and then you build these systems, right? And then you start to have this flywheel where now you've got all these locations and you have synergies. You have a lot of leverage with vendors where you can go back and you can negotiate rebates. You can negotiate better pricing from your suppliers. You have ability to promote employees from within to go from one store to the next. You have a career path that you can build for your employees where somebody could start with you as a technician or just like an entry level, and then they could work their way up to be an assistant manager, a manager, a district manager, maybe even an operating partner, or who knows, maybe you'll decide I'm going to expand into a brand new market and I am going to have I need an equity operating partner, and I'm going to give this guy or gal on my team an opportunity to be that person, right? as your world gets bigger and bigger and you have the same business that you're literally just like duplicating, like sheep or mice or whatever the one that has babies a lot, you're just duplicating over and over again. And once you start to realize like that's the game you're in, then you don't care about the equity. Like I don't care what my business is worth. Multiple people have come and said, "Hey, do you want to sell? Do you want to sell this thing?" And I go back to like, well, what would I do if I sold this thing? I'd get a bunch of money, I pay a bunch of taxes, I put it into Vanguard, and then I'd be looking to build another business. But then the next business, I'd have to build from scratch again and build a whole new team. And like you'd go through all these things. And it's like, I have a great business that makes money on a reliable basis. And I can just keep adding to it and adding to it. Even now, like we have multiple opportunities that we're looking at where there are competitors operating these stores in great locations in our market. And we're looking at taking these things over and they're going to have like 100 grand into these stores that will hopefully produce 150 to $200,000 each. So I put $100,000 into a store and I get, let's say 150 back. That's 150% return on my money. So after the first year, I've gotten all my money back. I've made 50 grand. And then the next year, I have no money into the store and it makes $150,000 a year. Like if that was the premise, like who would not make that investment, right? Plus the synergies, plus the additional rebate volume, plus like all the other things that come with it. So I think you have to take a step back and you have to kind of look at it from this bigger picture if you're serious about it, where it's not about a single location. It's about learning a system with a single location. I do believe you should start small. I started small. I started with 2 shops when I first became an owner in 2016. And then I bought another one in 17 and another one in 18, another one at the end of 18 and one in 19. Like I was like one essentially. And then once I was in it and I knew it and I was making money, then I could make the big jumps. And I bought a group of 7, bought a group of 5, bought a group of 2, 4, 6, whatever. We started to stack the bigger groups. And now we're just filling in the lines in our map. And so you start small, you learn the business, and then you start to just double up. I think this thing grows in doubles. And then you build the team because a lot of people want freedom too. I'm not in this to work 60 hours a week. I'm in this to have cash flow, and I use that cash flow to build teams. And there's people that I hire are able to take over a lot of the daily grind, like operational things, so that I can have some freedom to spend my time however I choose. And if I choose to say, hey, I'm going to focus all in on our Midas or auto repair business, and go heavy on that to help get it going, great. If I choose, to get into our painting franchise or our artificial turf business and really focusing on that, I can do that. And I have people there that are continuing to run every day. If I say, hey, I want to build the best YouTube channel about franchising to help people build 8-figure businesses, guess what? I can do it because I got the time and I've got the flexibility and I have that freedom. And so you may be looking at franchises, you may thinking this thing's not for you, and hopefully this video can help you change your mind. If you have any questions, you can drop them below. I also am going to link a free resource I wrote called the 8-figure playbook. Pretty much goes over kind of franchising and how I view the whole model of how anybody can build an 8-figure business through franchising. And if you're just getting started and you're saying, hey, my goal is just to make 100 grand, 150 grand, I just want to use it to quit my job and have my first business, then great. That is an amazing goal that many people have done. I have this person that's in my 8-figure franchising mastermind who had a job. He got into a franchise that is making him money, 200 grand a year cash flow, but he's kind of getting tired of it. He's looking to level up. So now after 2 or 3 years, he's basically looking to sell that business, take that money that he's going to net out. He'll probably walk away with like $400,000, $500,000 of cash after selling this thing, because he's got some debt. And then he's going to basically play Monopoly and trade up to buy a bigger and better business, most likely in a franchise, but maybe not. That's fine. And so anyway, there's lots of different ways you can go. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I try to respond to everyone. And if you're not subscribed, please do. I put out videos every week helping people build an 8-figure franchise business. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.